Let's start with transfer classes. Across the country, it feels like every roster is totally different than it was 6 months ago. I honestly get a little disoriented thinking about it. Like, I just forget who's on certain teams, and I kind of have to like bookmark Jeff Borzello's roster article to go see. But my question for you is, now that the dust has sort of settled, it seems like things have died down. There's still a couple small ads coming in. Ques Glover just committed to Kansas State yesterday. He was headed to BYU. He's from Samford, another guard that can score. Who do you think is the best transfer class in the country? Because I feel like we have to evaluate this almost like a recruiting class now. And I don't really feel like transfer class rankings have become as buzzy of a thing as recruiting rankings have. But now that it's done, if today was the final day and rosters were finalized, who would you say is the best transfer class from this season?
So, just some background on this because I feel like there's a couple of different ways you can go with this. You can go with what transfer class fits the best, not necessarily the most talented. You could go with, the must bust method, the most transfers, the most talented transfers that you can get. And going through, I think there's definitely a couple of different choices on here. I don't think there's a distinct number one clear, like, I'm not trying to argue with this with you. It's very obvious who it is. But I think for the best transfer class, I would go Kansas. I would go Kansas because I think Hunter Dickinson, obviously the ad, to me, he's the best transfer that was added if we're just looking at actual prospects added. Like, that is a first team All American, a former first team All American level talent player that is added to a team. And then you go and get the shooting of Timberlake. And then maybe one of the most underrated portions of this that I feel like people don't mention as much is the audition of Arterio Morris as well from Texas. I mean, he was a really good pickup. So I think I would go Kansas as the best transfer class. Just I think that bunch right there is talented, and also the way it fits into the team, I think works perfectly.
So I think Kansas is one of two answers I would agree with. At the second one I'm going to throw out, I just want to get your thoughts on, is Kansas's rival, and it is Kansas State. It's the group that just brought in Ques Glover. I feel like this class is going under the radar, and I might be giving them a little too much credit based on what happened with their transfers last year. They got Marquise Noel, they got Keontae Johnson. Nobody really thought much of either of those ads. And then a month into the season, it was like, oh, these guys are all Americans. I think part of that is a Jerome Tang system. Like, he lets his guys rock, and I think he's going to do that again with this group. But like, Arthur Kaluma could be really good for Kansas State. Tyler Perry's a guy I actually am high on. Everybody knows I'm really skeptical about mid-major transfer guards, but I think Tyler Perry's going to be really good. And now you add Ques Glover to that, where like, okay, you got two lottery tickets at the guard position instead of one. I feel like that bodes pretty well for a coach with the transfer track record like Jerome Tang. I would be shocked if two out of those three aren't like really, really good in a first and second option role for Kansas State next year. So I'm going to give them the nod, Cart. I think like Hunter Dickinson on paper is better, and you add Arterio Morris into that. Fair answer. But I think I'm taking the trio of Kansas States as like they're going to have more impact than Kansas's group will next season.
I'm not mad at that pick. And I think you brought up a great point with what Jerome Tang does with his guys too, especially like looking at Arthur Kaluma. Like, I feel like the I guess call it the marriage of Kaluma and Tang at Kansas State could really unlock some things for him, because I feel like he got a little bit stagnant at Creighton at sometimes to me. And I feel like he kind of needed that change of scenery. And he's going to be playing with a guy who's a different style coach than McDermott is, and in a system that's going to let him rock, basically. So I like that pick by you. That's who I was going. I was going between. I think my third, the other option I was going to go was Bama. I like the additions that Bama had, just because Estrada's an absolute bucket, and I'm higher on Nelson than other people. So that's who was going to be my other team.
I don't know what it is about Nelson. I just don't fully trust him. Like, are they
Is it the
playing?
facial hair? Is it the mustache?
It might be that. Are they playing him at the four? Is he a three? Is he
See,
a five?
see, I'm not sure where they're playing him.
Yeah, it scares me. I feel like he almost kind of needs to be like a versatile big to be fully utilized, but I don't think that works in the SEC. Um, Some other honorable mentions. I like Texas. I think Max Asmus should be getting a lot more love on these lists. And I think,
Kendrick.
yeah, I think like Asmus and Tyrese Hunter works a lot better on paper than Marcus Carr and Tyrese Hunter did. So I'm pretty excited about that. Like I feel like Hunter takes a step forward now that he has a shooter next to him instead of a ball dominant guy next to him. And Shedrick is a rim protector I really like. Big 12 classes in general are loaded, man. Like
West Virginia.
Houston stealing LJ Cryer, or I mean, Houston stealing LJ Cryer.
Yeah.
Um, Baylor got Ray J Dennis. They got some dudes like
Jaden Nunn. Like the Big 12 went dumb actually.
yeah, the Big 12.
West
Big 12
Virginia too, right? Yeah, that's big. Yeah, okay.
is the Big 12 the best conference in college basketball? Again,
Yeah,
pretty clearly, right?
yeah.
Is it going to be forever?
No, because eventually they're not going to be there anymore.
Realignment, your favorite.
Hey.
Hey, let's move on